Hi friends, my name is host Eric, and today I begin with a provocative question. What if you tried your hardest for years and years and still failed?
Talking with famous people.
I've got 6,321 videos uploaded, okay? That's a lot of videos uploaded. I have 6,800 subscribers. So basically, a sub a video. May 3rd, 2012. My channel overall has 3,238,000 views. But I really started uploading in 2014, so call it 7 years. For 7 years of steady work, as indicated here by the 6,321 videos, I'm obviously not successful. And the thing that really drove this home is watching around me so many people in the typology community actually be successful. Joyce Mang gets thousands of views on her interviews that she does with types, including Spacey. I saw recently was interviewed on one of them. Every time she puts one up. The guy who Love Who, his videos get shit tons of views. Well, obviously he's making better videos, right? Or more likable videos, more popular videos. So let's go to this agenda here and look a little bit more at this. Let's talk about Buffalo Bills plus this Joe Rogan fighter talk. The Buffalo Bills are famous for losing the World Series 4 times in a row and never winning it in that whole period of time. With all that group of people, Marv Levy, all those particular players, Jim Kelly was the quarterback. They never could quite put it all together, and they lost their 4th time. And instead of being thought of as accomplished for making the Super Bowl, they're just thought of as some of history's more famous losers. Then I heard this segment with Joe Rogan talking to a fighter one time, explaining to him that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how hard you work, how much you want it, blah 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 blah. If you don't have certain physical skills in place, you're not going to be successful as an MMA fighter. And he was trying to sort of break the news to this guy that he just didn't think he had the fast twitch reflex. He didn't think he had he had all the try hard he could muster, but Joe Rogan was saying, I don't think that's enough. And that is certainly the case for some people, right? And maybe YouTube is one of those things for me where that which it requires is something that I don't have in me. I'm not sure. Talking things through. Well, what is this video? This is video me talking things through, and this is part of one of the reasons why I'm probably not very successful on YouTube, is I use it as a means of living my life. I need to sometimes talk things through, and you might say, well, why don't you talk them through with Rachel? Well, because for me, Rachel's the private realm, and talking things through for me means talking them through publicly and making my thoughts heard, sort of on the flow, on the official flow of things that are said in the universe. It's always been the case that I've talked things through, but normally in the past I've done a lot of live streaming and talking things through rather than making videos like this, although I've made these kind of videos before as well. I find right now I need to talk things through like this because I don't actually want feedback from people or respond to it real time. I just want to get my thoughts off my chest. Which might be another reason why, instead of talking it through with Rachel, I talk it through like this. She's sitting right there listening to me talk it through, but in the car I was silently thinking about all these things. So number 2 is reasonable expectations. So it's like, I just figured, well, I'm successful according to reasonable expectations for quite a while, until I saw all these people just surpass me and become vastly more successful with on equivalent subject matter with what I consider to be not better content. But that's my taste in content, right? So regardless, it's kind of a reasonable expectation to think if you put as much time and energy and effort into YouTube as I have, that you'd be more successful than I am. Reasonable or not, that expectation is not in the status quo met, although my subs are going up gradually a little bit at a time. I seem to be doing a better job of increasing subs with my new approach, which is less uploading and more care into each video and stuff. But it doesn't seem to be showing up in views necessarily. Regardless, my point is, part of the reason why I'm feeling down about things a bit is that I really feel as though my expectations aren't unreasonable given the amount of energy I put into it. Of course, remember, you got to work smart, not just hard, and that's an ongoing problem for me. And so maybe my expectations aren't reasonable, never were reasonable, but nevertheless, they were my expectations. And finding my map and territory diverging from each other in this fashion is depressing. It's like, I do make typing people a fairly substantial part of my income, and it's hot and cold. It comes and goes in bursts, and I'd expect that aspect of the business to grow more. Granted, there's only a finite number of people who want to pay to get typed, but if you got 50,000 people watching Love Who's video, then there's certainly a population of potential clients that I'm not currently accessing very effectively. In fact, a lot of clients come to me last. They don't come to me first, even though I'm the best typologist. Part of why I'm so optimistic in general in life is because my previous experience suggests to me that I'm special. In other words, when I started coaching debate, I didn't really know anything about coaching debate. I had been a debater in high school years before, but my debaters almost immediately started winning, and that persisted throughout my entire career. Turned out I was a better debate coach than even the very good debate coaches. I was among the very best. I didn't believe it for a while. I thought it was just a fluke because I don't inherently believe in myself really. But over time, it became driven home that no, it's absolutely the case. Time and time again, we're whipping ass, and it's because there's only one explanation. The kids change, everything changes except for the coaches, So I started working at Kudos, and it blew up. It's like one of the biggest middle school programs in the country. This is my previous experience with working hard and trying. Of course, the thing is, I'm trying in some sense in the wrong area here. I'm trying to get cognitive functions right. And that's a little bit different than trying to get YouTube right, for sure. What about my self-concept? And I divide it into three things: negative, neutral, and positive. My overall self-concept is pretty self-confident and pretty positive. I believe myself capable of doing big things, I have in the past, and I believe myself capable of doing them in the future. I know myself to be more correct / articulate than most anybody else I encounter on YouTube or anywhere else in the world. So these things are positive self-concepts. On the negative side, I also know that I am very much at the whim of my shifting moods, that I have poor follow-through, that it's best if I don't commit to do anything because it just makes me not want to do it immediately. These are all negative things about me. That I'm rather childish for my age and still trying to figure out how to live like a grown-up in some sense, As far as the neutral stuff goes, well, I guess the neutral stuff is something along the lines of when allowed to exist somewhere other than in my tool function, there's nothing inherently combative about me. It's like I'm not necessarily interested in getting into arguments with people or screaming that I'm right or that they're wrong or insisting that one cognitive function model has primacy These things are naturally occurring phenomena because I'm encountering wrongness all the time. But, I put myself there in that position on YouTube where it's difficult for me to engage cognitive functions without engaging the fact that there's a singular correct way to interpret them, and that's not the default way in the status quo, and therein lie all the problems. People type people all over the place, and it's nuts. It's like, I know what I'm doing, and they don't. Okay, so how am I commonly perceived? We'll start here. I had a couple of interruptions, but negatively, I'm perceived as arrogant, haughty, insufferable, overly assured of himself, pushy. Sometimes some people might even consider me a bully. And that's the better half of the negative perceptions. The worst half of the negative perceptions are crazy, homeless guy, drug addict, eccentric, whatever. Then there's the neutral, which is its own form of negative when in terms of being commonly perceived as. A lot of people probably don't give me much thought at all. They just dismiss my videos as not things they want to watch, either because they're boring, they're too TI, they're too long. There's people have their own reasons for watching or not watching a given video. So probably they're not going to give somebody a whole lot of second chances. If they watch a video of yours and they don't like it, then they're probably not going to watch many more videos of yours, right? So that's part of the downside of, I guess, making so many videos, is there are varying degrees of quality. Now, to the extent that I'm commonly perceived positively, it's by a fairly small number of people, I think. There definitely is a community that seems to value me and appreciate what I have to offer, and affirm that, and I appreciate that a great deal. There's, I think, perhaps a growing understanding that if you want to get a serious typology answer, you should come to me, like for typings, I hope. It's certainly the case. But it could just be wishful thinking on my part. Alright, let's go open this up a bit more. Feelings, self-care, and intuition. Part of the problem is I'm very much subject, like I guess a lot of us are, to the volatilities of feelings, self-care, and intuition. As an intuitive, I would like to be living in a land where I'm excited about intuitive things and about meanings and such, and my feelings are coordinated with that. But in reality, my feelings are much more coordinated with SI. If I'm not feeding myself enough, drinking enough liquids, I tend to get down, I tend to lose energy. If I don't get enough sleep, I can be moody. And of course, then there's feelings that just are feelings in and of themselves that don't link to either self-care or intuition, the two knowledge functions, but rather to as a deliberative way of being. But that kind of introverted feeling is one that I'm not very good at using. It wasn't until fairly recently that I started actually hiding toxic people from the channel, on the grounds that the principle of free expression was preferable to what anybody felt, But I've come to see that, maybe it started to occupy a little bit more of my headspace than it used to. The negativity I get, possibly because I wonder sometimes if the growth of the channel has been hurt by concerted spiteful efforts against me. It's possible. I don't know. It's hard to say. And that would be sad, because mostly because I don't want them to win. Being in the moment. A lot of this was links to and was predicated upon a conversation Rachel and I had in the car about being in the moment. It's generally perceived that sensors are more in the moment than intuitives are. But of course, everybody's in the moment the same. I have a moment, I'm spending it attending to something. You have a moment, you're spending it attending to something. Whether or not those attentions comprise something that's physically changing in the moment, it depends on what you're doing. So if I'm sweeping the floor, then I'm in the moment to the extent that I'm paying attention to the sweeping the floor. If I'm thinking about a novel I'm writing while I'm sweeping the floor, then somebody might say I'm not in the moment. But I am in the moment. I'm just in the moment here and not in the moment here. Right? So the thing is, nevertheless, there's a clear distinction between things that are immediately gratifying or native to who you are, and things that are more of a delayed gratification. And for me, being in the moment means being able to do this, right? To be able to make this video, to get all this stuff out of my head so that I can shift on to new things in my head, I guess. And that's what this channel has always provided me, is the capacity to be in the moment on the external metaphysical field. In other words, to have my words go down on the flow, the imaginary flow that everybody's keeping about all the argumentation in the world, right? Like, the God's own debate judge is up in heaven, flowing the round continually, writing down everyone's arguments. And as long as it's out there on the flow, then I can let it go from my inside myself, That's what perhaps an INFJ I once watched meant when she said on her YouTube video, the ENTP actualizes externally. And if that is in fact the case, then this would be what that would look like, actualizing externally. So by putting this up on the internet and sharing it with everybody, I feel as though I've ontologically metabolized it. Whereas if I were to deal with it in any other non-public way, I wouldn't feel that. That's going to conclude my video for today, except for an addendum that is, this Sunday we are meeting in Indianapolis. Sunday evening we'll be meeting at the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel downtown. And if you wish to meet up with us for lunchtime activities, we will keep you posted on those, either in the community tab or via Winston's mom as a sort of community mom. So see you in Indianapolis on Sunday. Bye. Love you all. Thanks for watching.
Talking with famous people.